Hello, this is Paul Milligan for IT Show TV at IT 2017. Thank you for joining us for our latest panel discussion. Today is entitled, How Can We Improve AV Standards? Joining me today are Arne van Delf from Deerns, welcome, and Brigida from InfoComm. So I guess InfoComm, we'd kind of better start with you really. How can we improve AV standards?
Sure. I thought about your question a lot, and I actually might propose that we look at it by saying, how can we improve the AV industry?
Okay.
And my answer then is, with standards. I think you pose a very good question about improving the standard of service, the standard of quality, the enhancement for the user experience. And InfoComm started developing these standards 10 years ago, so we're babies in the industry. But as each standard comes out, the take-up is greater, the interest is greater, and we find more and more people coming to us telling us how useful they are, and then saying, and oh, by the way, here's another standard that we think is important. So,
but I'm guessing as soon as you finish one standard, you either have to go back and refresh it, or is it a kind of never-ending?
It is a living document, so it's a 5-year cycle. Right now, we are going through the first 3 standards that we ever put out, and they have changed greatly, as you can imagine. And each group works. It's the cool thing about the way we're developing standards is that our process is aligned with ISO's process. So it's very open, balanced, transparent, but it's all the industry experts. It's a global initiative, so from all over the world. We work with probably 80 volunteers on any given.
And they're all from manufacturers or from
No, there's a
different parts
balance.
of the channel?
There's an even balance through the channel. So it's everybody.
Arne, what do you think can be used to improve standards in the AV world? I mean, first of all, do you think they need improving, and kind of how would we best go about it?
Well, I think it's like I agree with Anne about what standards will do. They bring up quality, and they give you a sort of it's the airbag of your car. You know, you don't want to use it to rely on it, but it's good. It's there. It gives you a improvement of quality of audiovisual systems. And for me, as an independent consultant, it's like very good. It makes my life easier to have standards, basically, because then there is a common agreement on what is the basic quality. And I think what can be improved is that, of course, there are more standards, more items that we talked about it already. The standard that is coming for video conferencing, like the lighting and the sound quality and the way you decorate.
We had a recent roundtable discussion with a table full of consultants, and they were saying in AV there can be 300 standards. In IT there's probably 5 or 10. You know, do we need to get to that stage where there are that few that everyone knows them and everyone adheres to them?
Yeah, but I think there is different kind of standards. For you have also the protocol standards, you know, and so there is a use for every standard basically, but it's in a different kind of part of the world. So I think in the end, you're seeing AV growing to IT worlds. But in the end, I think the standards should focus on the user experience in the end, so that you get good quality user experience, like the sound and the light, and the way of installing stuff, and the protocols, the cable types and cable versions. I think those could be standardized, but I think that in general it's not the most important thing, I would say, for standardization.
I mean, do you think we could maybe follow a lead from the IT world in terms of the reduction in so many standards?
I do, and I think that one of our issues is connectivity. It gives you job security, I guess, because of the disparate systems you have to put together, but by the same token, I think we're harming ourselves. But it's like people see standards as something that's restrictive, but I see standards as something that's very free. There's great freedom in the structure of those, and you can look at the musical scale to figure that out, you know, how many notes are there and how many pieces have been written. So
I think you're absolutely right. It's the weird dichotomy of integration. If you're a systems integrator, you're paid to make these systems integrate and make them all work together. But the other side of the coin is, we had a recent integrator who said for a recent job he had to write 30 different bits of software to get the AV kit to all talk to each other and work. And that seems crazy. That seems way too much. But again, that's kind of part of the thing you're getting paid to do. You know, do you find that it's...
Yeah, I think there's some terrain to win, I think, with standardization. Especially I find in projects where there's a big install base, where you have this sort of, you want to more interconnectivity, like Lego, you know, you just want to be able to click different parts of your AV installation together and have a agreement on interfaces between things. And in terms of management and support in management systems, you want to have more freedom for the end user to change things in their AV system and still have the interoperability with other parts of your system. I see that in the 3 big projects that you're sort of bound by suppliers, and I would be more happy if it's more an open environment, and standards can help for sure.
I mean, has the growth of AV IT convergence and the move to take AV signals over IP made standards more difficult, more complex, or easier because they're all being transferred the same way?
You will see that different vendors will have their own way of doing it. So there are standards, of course, like HDB-based TE, HD-based TE, and but there are things like Dante that are. Yes. So there's different kinds of. It gets a sort of standard with. Sometimes it's proprietary, and sometimes it usually starts with proprietary, and then there will be. That's what in IT happened. There was always a proprietary standard that made it to a global standard in the end. So I think that should be the focus. So there should be the freedom, like you said, of innovation still. But in the end, if you have a user quality standard, you can just apply that to every kind of innovative system. Still, you're aiming for quality of the installation, and how you do that can be different. So you can use still standards in another way.
And have you seen things complicate with regards to standards because of the growing kind of AV IT convergence, or has that made it simpler?
It's actually made it easier for me because, the IT world has to have standards or it doesn't function. Whereas we had technical standards, of course, but in terms of performance of a system, they didn't exist because we were the art end. So, the RJ45 stops here and then whatever happens, But now, as people's budgets are moving toward the IT departments and they see the IT departments with all their standards, they'll call me and say, Anne, I just was absorbed into the IT department and the guy's asking me about our standards. What standards do we have? It's like, oh, awesome opportunity. Let me tell you, because the catalog is growing. We have 8 published standards now, and we have 8 in the queue. So we're getting to the point where we're starting to actually be able to characterize a whole system, like the audio system and the visual system. We have another standard. These were all identified.
So there's a whole team at InfoComm committed to this process?
Yes, we are all very committed. And we had 165 suggestions for standards when we first started the program. So
that probably says something, doesn't it?
At a development rate of 1 per year,
yes,
you can do the math. And
might take a while,
we had to figure out another way. So we started looking at them in terms of what we could do for the industry alone and which standards allied trades would need. Sure. And so the allied trades are going through the ANSI process. Sure. But the ones that our people need, the cable labeling that an AV practitioner cares about, but an architect really doesn't. Those we're developing internally using the same process, only we can short cycle it with some of the phases that it goes through. So we got cable labeling out in a year.
Sure. And do you think the CTS qualifications can play a part in kind of promoting and pushing the right standards and out there?
I do. Well, I think everything's it's a circle. So you start out with a problem, a standard, and that's not just us. That's every industry. Look at health. Look at safety. There's an issue. A standard comes out to solve the problem. Education is created so that people know that there's a standard to solve the problem, and then there's some conformity assessment piece. let's take health and safety again. For them, it's certification of a lab or a process. With us, it's the certification, the CTS and whatever, and hopefully that mark demonstrates to people that they're aware of the standards that are in the market. And then it goes back to, then we assess that and say, are we still on the money with that standard? Do we need it anymore? Should we get rid of it? Should we update it? So it's a continual life cycle, which is great for us.
Yeah, keeps you busy, yeah.
And it keeps everybody interested in, what we're doing.
Do you sense a real thirst or a desire for kind of stand out in this sort of wider industry?
A desire
for standardization and standards?
I do. I sense every day, I sense more of a desire to standardize. And I think it's almost, the market is forcing that because you can't do 600 conference rooms in a unique way. You just can't.
Sure.
At some point, you have to. We're getting so big. I think the practitioners really...
Yeah. I don't know, if in your discussions with manufacturers, even at the show maybe, would standards and interoperability be something that you would bring up with them or kind of urge them to kind of help you with?
Well, actually, at this moment, I'm really focused on some sort of independent management of all AV systems, like I referred to earlier. And then it's the case from, okay, what kind of... there are good IT standards for SNMP kind of protocols to do the management. And now I'm just looking for, a software that's there. That's it. So I want to, if everybody uses these IT standards for their management, then you just have a regular IT management system for maintaining the whole AV system, whatever kind of parts of AV systems you are using. So that's actually a topic that I was walking around at the ISE now to make sure that what kind of standardization they use and just finding the common practice. But if it would be standardized, I wouldn't have to do that because it was already done.
So, and just to close up the shop, from an InfoComm point of view, we should be positive about this and look forward to the future in terms of standards. It's going to get better.
Yes, I think it's going to get better for everybody, and we have had great reception to all the standards that are there. I see more interest in our industry every day. I get more phone calls, and we have more volunteers, so I take it as a good sign. InfoComm is very dedicated to this because it makes everybody's job easier. It's getting the word out, and we appreciate what you do and everybody else does to help us with that because, like I said, we're the artistic side of everything, and I want everybody to know that they don't have to be afraid. Like Arne said, it makes his job easier. It makes us a better industry.
Fantastic. I think that's a nice note to finish on. So just left for me to say thank you very much to Arne and for helping me out today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.